What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Double G Gaming. It has been a goddamn while, but we are back here. I was wondering what I could do with 2K19, my universe mode. It was getting some views, but whatever, I don't really want to get into that. So what I decided to do was create the world's greatest tournament in the history of WWE 2K19, and I went ahead and created I think this is like 18 or 9 to 18 brackets. I'm not sure how it's split up. I think it's 18 different 8-man brackets, 4 matches in each, of different eras in the WWE. For example, I'll go through every single bracket here, and we're gonna get to the bottom of who is the best WWE 2K19 playable character this year. We'll probably do it again for 2K20, who knows. This is gonna be a tournament that's gonna last, I don't know how many weeks or months, as long as it takes me to get these out. So let's get it started with the 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s. This is a collection of everybody that was kind of around in that time, in that era, getting together their careers in order. Shelton Benjamin, Kurt Angle, obviously 2006 Kurt Angle. And some of these you might be saying like, wait, I'll explain to you if it doesn't make any sense. Kane and Big Show, obviously I couldn't get Kane without the mask, but Kane was around without the mask in the early 2000s. 2003 is when he unmasked. Big Show, that's when he made a name for himself. He came in 1999, but didn't really, become a household name until the 2000s. Same with Matt Hardy, Christian, Chris Jericho, and Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero came in 2000, won the title in 2004. So this is all about the 2000s, baby. Next up, we have Kevin Nash, Triple H, King Booker, Goldberg, Jeff Hardy, Edge, Batista, and Rey Mysterio. The only guy that I probably had to explain here is like Goldberg and Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash came in around 2002, stayed for about 3 years or so. He kept having injuries, but I needed some more extra spaces, so I threw in Kevin Nash here. If you remember, he was in a rivalry with Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. They had a Hell in a Cell match together. King Booker obviously in 2006 beat Rey Mysterio for the title, so those two are spoken for. Batista 2005 to 2007 was the greatest years in his career. Edge, Jeff Hardy 2008, 2007, 2009, one of the best rivalries in the WWE if I can remember. And Triple H, I decided to put him in the 2000s instead of the Attitude Era or the 90s, just because I needed extra spaces for the 2000s. And there's a couple guys that you probably are wondering where they are, but we'll get to them. Next up, we have the 90s era. So this is all the way from 1990 all the way to the 1999, and they made a name for themselves in this time. They are right here. So obviously Undertaker from 1999, the Heavy Ministry of Darkness. Undertaker, and then he's going off against the Anvil Knight, Jim Neidhart, who was part of the Hart Foundation, the renewed Hart Foundation in 1997 with Brian and Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and Bret Hart. That Anvil, that's why he's on here. Lex Luger in the 1994, he won the Royal Rumble. Psycho Sid won the championship, lost it to the Undertaker at WrestleMania 13. Vader came in 96. Bam Bam Bigelow actually main evented WrestleMania 1995. Rikishi and The Rock. For the second of the 90s brackets, we have Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Mr. McMahon, Steve Austin, The Godfather, Razor Ramon, Tatanka, and Jake Roberts. Now at the bottom there, besides The Godfather, most of them you would expect them. They're like early to mid 90s. Jake Roberts made an appearance in the mid 90s, 95, 96, when he was battling with the alcohol. Was it that alcohol storyline with Jerry Lawler? I do not remember what year it was, but Roberts was in fact in WWE in the 90s, so there he is. Tatanka, early 90s, he had a winning streak. He faced Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 9. Probably the best match of the card that day, but it was like a DQ, so anyway, Razor Ramon, early 90s as well. Godfather, ain't nothing to say there. Steve Austin, Mr. McMahon, greatest rivalry of 1998, 1999. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, I don't even gotta say anymore. Next up, we got the 80s brackets. First bracket here, showing you Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase faced off at WrestleMania 4 in the 80s. Papa Shango versus the Big Boss Man. Now, I do have Papa Shango and the Godfather, which are two the same person but different characters, so that's why I allowed it. And I needed more people on the bracket, so live with it. Papa Shango, Big Boss Man, sorry. And this incarnation of Boss Man was in the 80s, I believe, in the WWE. The other incarnation with the black vest and stuff. My voice just cracked. But we're gonna get past the Big Boss Man here. This incarnation of him was around in the 80s. Ric Flair, 88, so that's why I put him on here. Greg the Hammer Valentine, Mr. Perfect, and Roddy Piper, all mainstays of the 80s. Next up, Andre the Giant, of course, Dusty Rhodes. There is some cross promotion here from WCW, but Dusty Rhodes was in the WWE in the 80s with that polka dot gimmick. Ultimate Warrior Rick Rude actually had a match, I think, at either SummerSlam or WrestleMania. It was a big deal. Ricky Steamboat from 1987. You can see there on the screen it says 1980, so hey, unless that's 1787. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the model Rick Martel, and British Bulldog. Now this Bulldog, this version of the Bulldog, was part of the Heart Foundation in 97 that I mentioned earlier. Sorry about that, I had to move the mic. But I had to make some more slots. I had to get more slots filled on these brackets. So this Bulldog was around with the British Bulldogs, the part of the tag team. So this counts. Following up here, we have NXT brackets. If they have been, I think there's only 3 people on here that are not like currently in NXT as of this recording. But let's go through this bracket right now. Adam Cole, Nick Miller part of the TM61 tag team on NXT. Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, not currently on NXT. Lars Sullivan is getting rumored, or is getting those video packages that he's going to be brought up to either Raw or SmackDown, but as of now, Lars Sullivan is still part of NXT, not part of Raw or SmackDown yet. Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, Cassius Ohno, and Otis Dozovic of the tag team Heavy Machinery. Is that their name? Next up for the NXT bracket, the other side, we have Aleister Black, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young. Those are them along with Killian Dane. I needed slots to fill, and I said, why not put Sanity on here? Angelo Dawkins, Tucker Knight, Shane Thorne, Velveteen Dream, and Oney Lorcan, finishing up the NXT side of the bracket. Let's continue on here with the tag team bracket. So if they are part of a tag team in the last like 3 months or so, they're gonna be on here. Xavier Woods, Eric Rowan, Jimmy Uso, Kyle O'Reilly, Carl Anderson. Now I could have put Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, I could have done that instead, but oh, I'm gonna leave him alone. But let me just say what I was gonna say. I could have put Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish in the NXT side and put Killian Dane, Wolf, and Eric Young over here on this side of the bracket. But whatever, we'll leave it as it is. Carl Anderson, Razor, Scott Dawson, and Fandango, part of the first tag team side of the bracket, and on the other side, it's just gonna be their tag team equivalents facing off against the other tag team. So Big E facing off against Harper in the first round, Jey Uso versus Bobby Fish, Luke Gallows versus Akam, Dash Wilder versus Tyler Breeze, finishing off a tag team version of the bracket. Next up, we have 205 Live or Cruiserweight challengers here for this part of the bracket. We have Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, TJP, Drew Gulak, Hideo Itami, Akira Tozawa, Grand Metalik, Kalisto. So most of these are just cruiserweights. Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong, Tony Nese, Noam Dar, Rhea Daivari, Gallagher, Lindsay Dorado, and Tyler Bate. Now Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, I had to put in here because I probably could have put him on the NXT side of the bracket as well. But I needed more guys to be cruiserweights, and I said, you know what? They're probably going to be put on the 205 Live roster one day, so I'm just going to put them on here, fill it out, and that's what we have. Roderick Strong actually was part of the Cruiserweight Championship bracket earlier in the year, part of that WrestleMania 33 tournament, or 34, whatever. Yeah, 34 bracket. Next up, we have the jobber brackets. These next two brackets are going to be full of nothing but jobbers. We have Connor, Primo, Goldust, Rhino, Mojo Rawley, Ty Dillinger, Jinder Mahal, R-Truth. Kind of sad to see Jinder Mahal here, but I don't really care. I never liked him as WWE champion, but he has fallen back to jobber status, so that's why he's back on here. Kurt Hawkins, Bo Dallas, No Way Jose, Heath Slater, Aiden English, Titus O'Neil, Apollo Crews, and Curtis Axel filling out the jobber brackets. Next up, we have the 2010 brackets. This we're gonna see guys that could have been in the 2000s bracket, but I decided, you know what? Let me move them over to the 2010 because they have more impact there than in the 2000s. The Miz, Daniel Bryan, great rivalry there. Obviously, Sting, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt came in 2013, Sting 2015, so I don't want to hear it. Sting, he wasn't great in 2010. I could have put him in the 80s or the 90s, even the 2000s. But I needed a spot to put Sting in, and he wasn't in the WWE any of those other times. So 2015 Sting, welcome to the WWE, facing off against Bray Wyatt in the first round. Dolph Ziggler, Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston, and Zack Ryder. Kofi Kingston could have been in the tag team bracket, but he made a name for himself as a singles competitor in the 2010s. Zack Ryder could have been the jobber bracket, and I think I needed a spot to fill, so that's why he's on this one. Second part of the 2010 bracket, Sin Cara and Seth Rollins. Now this version of Sin Cara didn't come in the 2010s, but Sin Cara the character came in the 2010s. He came in around 2011. It wasn't the same one, but whatever. We'll ignore that fact. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose all came in 2012, along with Cesaro. Sheamus made a name for himself in late 2009, but really in 2010, so barely made the cut there. And then we had Randy Orton and John Cena, along with Brock Lesnar. You probably would have thought would have been in the 2000s bracket, but they became bigger names in the 2010s. Next up, we have, I believe, the final brackets. The final two brackets are going to be current superstars. So if they're in the WWE today and they weren't in any other bracket, you'll find them here. Finn Balor, Rusev, Nakamura, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, Elias, Bobby Roode, Andrade Cien Almas. And finishing off, we have AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman, Jason Jordan, Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, Samoa Joe, and Chad Gable. So I'm going to get that out right now. First round, I'm going to do no commentary, and then after that, I'll just do commentary over matches that seem interesting to me. Catch you guys next time.